Hi, this is Jeannie with My Perpetual Project. I've had this trunk for a while and I am updating it. Stay tuned for how beautiful it turns out. I've decided to strip the wood and metal pieces of this trunk to look a little more like that with the interior being painted. I'm going to try to leave this green color, but if not, I'll use cream. Just like that. This is the stripper that I'm using. It's a citrus strip probably, and it works pretty good. It's been sitting on there half an hour. I'll probably have to do it twice. Let's see how it goes. Back at the process of stripping off the paint from the wood on this steamer trunk. They have some of these boards with this kind of a salmon color. It looks pink on here, but it's salmon. And then the others don't seem to have been painted with that. So that is the first strip job last night. So I got some of that stuff off. I'm going to put a second coat of stripper on today. And here's that last side, and then we'll see what happens. I'll be sanding it, of course, and then deciding what I want to do with the metal. Well, it did take 3 coats of the stripper to remove most of the paint from the wood and metal. I was able to, after sanding it, get some of this, well, most of this salmon color out of the wood. I worked, as you can see, it was quite messy. I worked quite some time on the trunk. Once I got started, it was more time consuming than I figured it would be, but the result came out so beautiful that it was totally worth it. I used a little oscillating tool for most of the sanding because the pieces were small and I was trying to prevent damaging the green that I wanted to leave on the trunk, although you can see that I did, and I did have to do some touch-ups. The metal came out just beautiful, has a nice antiquing to it with a little bit of shine. Here are some tools that I used to scrape off the paint from the metal mostly. My 2 sanders that I used. The next step will be adding polyurethane. Well, I've finished stripping what I'm going to strip on this trunk. Brought it in the house. The garage has been really cold, but I've been out there, between 3 and 4 hours a day for at least the last week. For what I thought was going to be a simple project, this has turned into taking way longer than I anticipated. I had planned just to strip the wood and the metal and then put a clear coat on it. But the wood, some of the wood had a kind of a peachy paint that soaked in, and some of the wood had white that soaked in, so it's been really difficult to get all that out. I've done the best I can, and I finally just decided, here it's a little dark here, let me get over here, maybe you can see it better. I just decided to leave it as is and add the Varathane. I'm going to be using this outdoor water-based Varathane. See how that holds up. And I will take pictures when it's a little bit lighter in here. I used 2 coats of the water-based polyurethane and it shined up really gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. So I have some touch-ups to do on the paint where I was sanding a little too vigorously. And I had 3 containers of the paint I had used. This one and this one, and then a gallon, and they're all dry. I even added some water to see if this would loosen up, but it didn't. So my choice then was to take a couple of different craft paints, this Waverly chalk paint and a craft paint, and mix them, and so far it's working really well. I am touching up here and there. Sorry. On my tippy toes and kind of slipped a little bit. And then I'm going to, you can see where the touch-up needs done. and where some has been done. And then I'm going to go over it with this dark wax that I use with the chalk paint. Honey Sloan's my favorite. So we'll see how that turns out. The rest of the trunk is looking really stunning. Look how pretty that is. Once the touch-ups were done, I was ready to add the dark wax, and you can see that the touch-up paint is a little bit lighter than the original paint, but once that dark wax is applied, it really gives it a nice antique look. So the results came out nice. I'm super happy with it. Here's the back of the trunk, and then the side of the trunk, and you can see most of the white and salmon came out. Here's the front of the trunk and the top. And I add a piece of 1/4 inch tempered glass on top because I've used it as a coffee table before. So the result is just stunning. I'm using it as a decorator piece right now. And here are your before and after pictures. Thanks for watching. For more pictures and all the details, head on over to the blog. The link is in the description.